methods class, not how to teach per se, but the knowledge base that will serve you well. Actually, also some of that also is part of the expectations of the state in terms of what an elementary school teacher should know, and then of course what the school teacher should be able to do. We see our program as also very inquiry-oriented. We celebrate, we foster, we engage creatively. We want to release our imagination because it's not only about knowing what was, but thinking of what could be, right? And nevertheless, we need to be very aware of what is it that it's being taught in elementary school. So we are not just one chapter ahead in the textbook when we need to implement what we teach, but that we feel comfortable, more or less, with the vast majority of the subjects that we teach regularly at the different classroom levels and to very diverse students. And we see that the school experience is not isolated. We care, we are committed. We think about the children, about the families and communities where they live, and the society that we want to sustain and to further develop. You know, as the slogan says, you know, children may be only a proportion of the population, but they are the future of the whole nation. You might not be able to read all this. We just have it there as a reference for those who will look at this in the video. You can read, but teachers have an immense power to create the type of learning experiences, the engagement, the inclusive classrooms that we want to have. I am sure that any one of you have wonderful memories of some teachers who have made a difference in your life, that have motivated you. Maybe some of you want to become teachers because of that influence, right? And when you think about being a great teacher, you think about this teacher that was so unique, that maybe discovered a talent you didn't even know you had, maybe pushed you to achieve things you didn't think you could achieve. Well, we want you to be that teacher. We want you to be excited about teaching, excited about the content, but more than anything else, very excited about working with the children, with the students, and taking them to places where they have not been before. Our course, our program is a major. You know, when you complete it, you get a bachelor's degree in educational foundations for elementary teachers, and it offers you the option to do the teacher certification. And I'm saying offers you the option because some of you at some point might say, you know what, I started this major, I thought I want to go into teaching. Hopefully all of you don't say I thought, all of you say, I think I want to continue to be a teacher. But some of you might change your mind, or things in life happen. You can anyway complete the degree, get a bachelor's degree, and not have a teacher certification because that's something you decided that it's not at this time the right time. Okay, so I want you to know you have that option. We have all type of different classes. You will learn about learning theories and about the assessment and human development and what have been the different philosophies that have influenced our American schools and schools by and large around the world, and what are the historical roots and what are the social issues associated with schooling, because our responsibility is not only in terms of the learning, our responsibilities as teachers have to do with the social fabric of America, with the type of society and the type of community we want to live in, and to empower students, or to create at least the conditions for students to empower themselves to be able to make it better, right? One of the things we can say, and I can, you know, I give lectures about that, is that schools have been a key institutional component to enable not only the improvement of individuals, but to improve social life by and large. So your work is crucially important as much as the work of any other public servant. We will give you all the essential knowledge. Some of you bring already background. We will enhance that background and push you forward in the language arts, in math, science, social studies that are key aspects of that. Here's something that many of you want to see, and this is confusing for you now. I try to put with colors and things, but I know it's confusing because you don't know what that means, right? Those are in the column in the left are the identification numbers, like the ID for the class. And then in the middle column, what you have is the title of the class, which is just a title. It doesn't tell you much more than that. And then on the right column for me, where the numbers are, it means basically that those are the number of credit hours that these classes worth. So you finish a degree in the state of New Jersey with 120 hours, and that's what Montclair State University is offering you. And you will complete a bachelor's degree with 120 hours, 4 years of coursework, if you are a full-time student. And that includes your teacher education certification, which is a very important component of that. So those are courses that you take. The ones in yellow are courses that in our Department of Educational Foundations. Perhaps many of you are already enrolled in Educational Foundations, Social, Cultural, and Political Context, EDFD 180. Actually, maybe some of you may be in my section or not. I teach in one of those sections. Some of you might be also in the Historical Foundations of Education. And if not now, probably in the spring, as for those of you who are freshmen, certainly you have been provided with an incredible service that you might not realize now how important it is, but it's solving you so many headaches and problems your first year. And if you don't trust us on this one, just ask the sophomores or the juniors, and you will see how important it was, because you really want to follow a pattern that your advisors provide you with, so you can really graduate on time and you can have access to the classes that you have to have. There are other classes that are other requirements. There are a lot of options. For instance, these are English 255, Golden Age of Children's Literature, but there might be all these other classes that I didn't list the titles there, but they are all exciting, all interesting. You might say, you know what, I don't want to take Golden Age, or maybe conflicts with something else, or maybe whatever, or I really wanted to take, something in poetry. Well, we have a poetry class there too. And so you have a lot of options. Then there are courses that you can see the asterisks there that count towards your teacher certification. So that's how easy that you're doing what we call in a very, hope it doesn't sound vulgar, but it's kind of the slang of this area, the double dipping, kind of, you take a class and it serves for two different purposes. So here you're meeting two different purposes. You're meeting the major requirements and you're meeting also the teacher education requirements. We have these incredible classes that you will take later on in the program. For instance, those were specifically designed for you. This class 300 and 301, Science Inquiry in the Elementary School. This is before you take your methods of how to teach science. In these classes, for instance, you will deal with what have been the great questions of science, how we came to know what we know. I mean, really exploratory, hands-on and minds-on type of coursework with, and we have some terrific teachers that teach those classes. So we have all these things there, and there are a lot of courses. I mean, some of you might say, oh no, I have history, and again, I hated history. I mean, of course, I personally love history, I write history, but the way in which we teach history is not about remembering dates or remembering names or having to answer multiple choice questions. I hope not. We are engaging with historical thinking and trying to understand and to know where we are now, so we can see where we go and what has been the wrongs and what have been the half glass full as well. So it's a different way of looking at that. Math, we are giving you more specific math to teach in elementary schools, 2 classes of those will prepare you very well. And then we have an elective in math, which you know, again, it's how we think about mathematics. If we just think of mathematics as step after step after step, it might be boring for many of you or irrelevant. Or you might say, oh, I didn't do well in math. But this is not what we do. And here is what, again, you have an elective, how we think. For instance, you want to take a class in geography because it's something you loved when you were in middle school or so, or a class in some other type of subject. We have a large number of classes you can choose from. Of course, you take an introduction to psychology. This is kind of a no-brainer. And then we have child development 1 and child development 2. And then we have these 27 credits of electives. Right? But what happens is that the 27 credits of electives in reality are 27 credit hours that will lead you into completing your teacher education program. They are not in our department, okay, and we have no formal authority over these courses. These courses depend on the Department of Teaching and Learning in the program of Early Childhood Elementary Education, and they will help you with that part. But that doesn't mean that we disappear, and our advisors will work collaboratively with you. And then, of course, in this case, since they are in the Center of Pedagogy, this is where Mr. Boy and his colleagues will come into the conversation. This is a link to the faculty if you want to click on that. If not, you just go into our websites, you check in the Moncler page, you go into educational foundations, you start looking, you can play around, you will see all the programs and things we do, and then you see the faculty and what their expertise is in. You know, we have people who expertise is in the psychology area, like Dr. Tinio, in the history and social aspects, like it's my expertise. You have people in economy, people in sociology, a lot of people in philosophy. We have the Institute for the Advancement of Philosophy for Children. That is a wonderful thing we do at Montclair State, where it was initiated. Now around the world they are using our approaches and our work, and we are in connection with them. So you can explore who we are and what we do. I think that also sometimes you will say, well, you might write a lot, publish a lot, but are you good teachers? I mean, that's a very important question to ask, because being a very good scholar doesn't mean you're a very good teacher. But I am very proud that my colleagues in educational foundations, in the popular pages that students use, have ranked them extremely high. And as a chair, I have been a chair for several years now, too many maybe, I have seen the evaluation of my colleagues by the students, as extremely high. So that means that we have very good teachers, very good instructors. So they are not only good scholars. So, and again, I mean, sometimes you might not like something. We need you to be exposed to a variety of teaching approaches. So not all teachers teach the same way. And it's your right sometimes, you know, in a respectful manner to ask the teacher, I notice you teach different than what other teachers are teaching, styles are that I am experiencing now. Would you mind to explain us, you know, where your approach is coming from? I think that most of us will be delighted to explain to you why we do what we do and what is our rationale. Then you will discover that there are multiple ways of being an effective teacher, and not only one way. Not everyone has to be dancing at the same pace or dancing the same dance. Some very important information. Some of you already know it, but I have to mention it here, okay? This is a multidisciplinary program. Some of the coursework is being offered in other departments. You complete with 120 hours. Admission, I mean, you're conditionally admitted, and then probably you will have questions, or maybe you already know it, so you don't have questions, but there is a separate process to be admitted to teacher education, because the state has certain requirements, including what your GPA is, and a few other things. We have organized in a way that the transition will be very easy, and everything aligned with the coursework, so you shouldn't have any major problems if you meet all the prerequisites and expectations of the program. Alternatively, as I mentioned before, you have the credit hours free elective. If you decide, it will be more the case, I don't want to promise everyone anything, but in my own experience, in general, it's a student who chooses not to go into teacher education, but sometimes not everyone is really fit to be a teacher, and that's important to keep in mind. So there are other options. You can be an educator and maybe not be a classroom teacher. There you have 27 credits. You may take another major, you can take another minor, and at any point you can transfer majors if you are disappointed. But I hope you are not. I am very excited at what we do. A classic question that I have encountered in my conversations with students have been that many want to be teachers of students with disabilities. This major at the present time doesn't mean that in the future will not change. At the present time, we are not preparing you in this kind of coherent, aligned, and seamless transition way for you to become a teacher with students with disabilities. There are some other requirements that they have. There are some differences. This is not what we have presently. So if that's something you want to do, at this point, change majors. It hurts me, but I understand. And I know, because if that's what you want to do, you should go for what you want to do, okay? And we are lucky that we have that option, and there are several other majors that will lead you into that degree, all right? Most of you know it, but this is a screenshot, so it's kind of, right, you go, the College of Education and Human Services Student Success Center, that's the link, and you have here the way to get it into connection. This is another screenshot from the same site, right? Kind of a live chat with Student Success Center. This is, we are doing all that it's possible to make your life as easy as possible. But we will need you a little bit of action on your side too. So you have to have initiative, okay? If you have questions, you have issues, don't sleep on them. Just, go ahead and contact us. This is the undergraduate teacher education program. Right? And that's where you get more of those other part of information. You go into the Center of Pedagogy, which is an organization within our college that takes care of all things related to teacher preparation at all levels and for all type of programs. So, I mean, this guy have the whole, as I will say, enchilada. Everything is in there. So take advantage of that when time comes. I think that for those of you who are in the freshman year, you might want to have information and go into the track, but really it becomes very important in your second year as you want to apply, to continue with the program into teacher education. Another shot about on this, because also you have different ways of seeking advice or contacting the advisors there. And right now, those are the two names I had at hand. I know there are more people. And sorry, Jan, I just throwing everything at you and Jan, but there are other people besides them, but you have this date, at least you can drop an email and they will direct you to the right person. So thank you for your participation. If you have any questions, and maybe the question that some of you might be asking is, my accent is not from Brooklyn and it's not from the Bronx. Where is my accent from? And I let you guess, okay? Right, I don't sound that much as Brooklyn, right? I'm not a Brooklynite. All right, guys, those who are participating, type your questions. We will be happy to answer to them. But in the meantime, if any one of the presenters here want to say or share something.
I just want to quickly say that Dr. Grinberg mentioned he's the past chair of the department and the program, but he actually still has 4 more days to go. But if you do have any questions, do email me and let me know as the incoming chair about those questions, so we can easily let him off the hook and get a break. Dr. Grinberg, I didn't want to say that he is the brains behind the EFET program, and literally it's his boots on the ground that made this program happen, the many components of it. So I just want to make sure, as you're coming into the program, that you do recognize that. So yeah.
Right. Well, thank you. But you can still contacting me, and even though I am stepping down on Thursday, if you have questions, I mean, I answer questions to all students. I answer questions sometimes to students from other departments and other things. If I know the answer, I will be happy to give you an answer. And there are times, of course, that I have no idea what to answer, but I think I know who can answer that, and I will direct you to them.
I just wanted to make a plug. There is a teacher admissions webinar on Wednesday, the 29th at 2 o'clock. Ian is very happy I mentioned that. So if you do want to learn a little bit more about how teacher certification kind of fits in alongside your major, I'd highly recommend attending that. Again, it's on Wednesday at 2, and you can actually register from the Student Success Center website, but it was also probably emailed to you as well. So that is a great option. There is another webinar in August, but this one is specifically for incoming freshmen. So definitely take advantage of that, in addition to the other information we have available.
Yeah, thank you, Rebecca. So my name is Ian Bowie. I'm Program Advisor for Teacher Education, Admissions, Recruitment, and Diversity. Please join us on Wednesday at 2. Sign up through the Student Success Center. While I'm here, though, I will answer any questions that come up about teacher ed.
And the nice thing about going into teacher ed is you have a lot of support. So as Dr. Grinberg said, the faculty in your major department is one place of support. So you'll be assigned an academic advisor or faculty advisor. And then you'll also be assigned a professional staff academic advisor in our office. So it would either be myself, Hanan Atiat, Amani Hill, or Rosie Beto. And then when you are admitted into teacher education, you're also assigned an advisor in that program. And Ian and Jan are really there to kind of guide you through the admissions process. But once you're admitted, you also have an advisor. So there is a lot of support available to you to make sure every step of the way that you are taking the right classes, that you're doing what you need to do to complete your degree in a timely manner.
I want to add that we want you to be successful. We want you to do well. We want you to continue to be excited about becoming a teacher. Listen, I have more than 40 years, okay? More than 40 years of teaching, 40. If I were to start all over again, I will do it without any doubts. It's an extremely rewarding profession. It's a very noble profession. And we are not in here for any other reason than really trying to make the world a better place. And as much as an slogan as it might sound, right? Making a difference in the life of others by enabling them to reach those levels that never even dreamed they can, is an extremely important, for those of you who are believers, God-given, opportunity. And it's an incredible service, not only to the students, but also to the communities and to the nation. So no regrets, okay? So we want you to do well. We want you to be great teachers. But we need you to be in contact with us and to connect with us so we can keep you, on track when needed, if needed. I see no questions in the question and answer.
That's fine. If folks have other questions,
Yeah.
later that come up, feel free to contact any of us.
Right.
We're certainly happy to help. I know that,
Yeah.
a lot of our students maybe went to orientation last week too, so it's been a lot of
Right.
information.
Right.
But certainly as things come up.
Great. Okay, so if that's the case and I still not see anything, I guess we will let you go. I hope that all of you stay safe and healthy and take care of yourself, because you have probably to take care of others as well. Okay.
Great.
I see you in a few weeks. Take
Great.
care.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Here.
Bye.
Thank you.